All right, what is going on, everybody? I hope you're all doing well, and thanks as always for watching. Today we are checking out the Custom Tones Ethos 60s Harmonic Bias Trem. It's a great sounding tremolo pedal, but in my humble opinion, it's quite a bit more than that. It absolutely covers the tremolos, amplitude and harmonic of those 60s brown panel circuits. Does it really nicely. There's all kinds of features on this thing, and I hope I can demo it properly for you, but there's just a lot more going on than just that great sounding tremolo. The preamp on this thing sounds really, really good, and we'll definitely get into that in the demo. Let me just go through what's on top of it. So you have 3 switches. The switch on the left is your speed switch. The switch on the right is your bypass or active switch. That's going to turn it on and off. And then there's a foot switch up top that allows you to choose between that amplitude and harmonic trem. So it's great that you have all those foot switching options on a pedal this size. You've got 3 potentiometers. One is for your slow speed, one is for your fast speed, and then one is for intensity. And as I mentioned before, slow and fast speeds, you can switch between the two via foot switch. You have 2 mini potentiometers up top. One is your tone, and we'll definitely check that out. That's the tone of the trem circuit. The other one's called V-trem, and that's the volume of the pedal. So you can run it unity, or you can run quite a bit hotter. And in that demo, I actually, in that opening song, the first guitar you hear is actually the harmonic tremolo with that volume just pushed a little bit, with also a little bit of tone added in. Now, there is a center detent on that tone control, so I had it maybe just above that, so like 1 o'clock, but we'll check all that out in the demo. Speaking of switches, you can also use what's called, and it's a really important switch. At first I was like, why would you need a trem kill switch? But you use the trem kill switch, and you can get this one from Custom Tones, or I'm assuming any latch function switch will do, but you plug that in to the pedal and you use that so that you can take advantage of the great sounding preamp and not have to like reach down and turn the intensity off to do it. You can just simply kill the tremolo, but then still employ the preamp on this thing. And that's what I did, especially, and we'll get into it in the demo too, I used an overdrive pedal and took advantage of the preamp for the kind of stingy solo sound. So that's what that's doing. So it's another foot switch option that's really, really cool. You do have a switch on the back of this. It's V1 and V2. So it's basically version 1 and version 2 of this pedal. I look at it more as an EQ switch. It really is only active when you're using the harmonic tremolo. You won't hear it on the amplitude setting, but we'll get into how cool this switch is, and then all the other options you can get into based on this voicing and the fact that it only affects the harmonic. I'll show you in the demo. There's a lot to go through. The in and out is on the sides of this thing. You know what? Let's just get into it. It is the Custom Tones Ethos 60s Harmonic Bias Trem. Alrighty, let's give this thing a listen. Here's just the guitar into the amp. And here is the 60s Harmonic Bias Trem. Okay, so cool. I just, bounced around between the amplitude and harmonic. Showed you guys how that speed switch works. I like that it's not super immediate, like bam, and all of a sudden, it seems like there's a little bit of a ramp there. I mean, I could be wrong, but it feels good to switch between the slow and fast. Obviously, roll the intensity. I think what I want to do is start with, you know what? Let's just start, since you've heard, the trem, amplitude, and harmonic. Let's turn that off. And it's a really nice feature because I want you guys to hear the trim and the tone on this. So normally, if you want to be able to use the preamp part of a tremolo, you're going to roll the intensity off. In this case, you use a trem kill switch, which I have plugged in here. Now, this one's from Ethos, but I'm assuming any kind of latch function, 1/4-inch switch will do. But I'm going to go ahead and shut the trem, or I should say, in this case, the harmonic, off, but not by bypassing the unit. So right away, you're already hearing a tonal difference. I mean, if I just shut this off completely now, that's what's being added. Now, part of what you're hearing right now is in that harmonic setting, there's a switch on the back that allows you to choose between the version 1 and version 2. If you have it in the version 2 setting, it really only applies to the harmonic trem, and we'll come back around to that. But what it does is it kind of tightens up the lows and actually brings mids out. Now, if I throw that switch the other way, it's less mids, more lows. And then when I shut the whole thing off, that's just the amp. So what I'm going to do is leave it for now in the V1 position so you guys can hear what this tone sweep is doing. And then I'm going to turn the harmonic trem back on and we'll go back and forth. So here's the tone control now. So you can bring a ton of glass into it. Or make it darker if you want. So I'm going to leave it there. The V trim is basically the output. So about right there is unity. From there you can start pushing things. I don't want to hit things too hard. Well, let's see. So that's just all amp, or, you know, hitting the amp. That's without it and with it. So that's just a really nice feature. For me, I like having everything kind of boosted anyways. I'm going to leave it about right there. Now, if I throw that switch in the back to the V2 position, all these mids are going to come in. And where that applies, I mean, that sounds really cool. And I actually used that with this overdrive, and we'll get into that in a second. But now I'm going to go ahead and turn the harmonic trem back on. Here's where this is great. So this is how I like it, but if you want it to be a little darker and a little more thuddy in the lows, throw that switch to the V1, it's going to be more kind of boomy. And then you can add some tone. Now that's only going to apply to the harmonic. You're not going to hear it in amplitude, but in harmonic you'll hear it. I liked it there because it just sat better in the mix, especially for the... Because I was doing the low end stuff. In the other position, still sounded cool, but it was a little too boomy. So that's what's going on with that switch. That's how it affects the harmonic setting. Like I said, you won't hear it. If I hit this switch and move back to amplitude, it doesn't affect it there. It's only on the harmonic setting. So I'm going to leave it in the V2 position, and obviously the switches are what you think they are. This switch goes between amplitude and harmonic. This is obviously your speed switch. So your slow setting, all the way to, I'm going to turn the intensity all the way up, all the way to your fastest setting. And then intensity all the way off. So very 60s brown panel circuit for sure between the two. One last thing I want to show you is how I used this overdrive pedal with the tremolo, once again using the kill switch to keep the preamp on, but turn the, in this case, the harmonic tremolo off. Now, keep in mind we're in that V2 setting that's way more mid push. So I'll turn the pedal on, the overdrive. That's how I have that set up. Now, if I turn on the circuit now for the Ethos, and keep in mind everything is off, including this. I'm hoping I'm not confusing you guys. If I turn this back on, so it brings out like this cool, just stingy mid. The way it cut through the mix was really cool. And of course, this EQ is still active, so I could tame things. But let's say you want to foot switchably go between like the V1 sound and the V2 sound when you're using the overdrive. Because the V2 doesn't affect the amplitude setting, this foot switch can become a tone switch for your overdrive. Wow, I'm playing terrible. So now it's off. Want more mids? Just the overdrive. So there's just a ton of versatility in how you just employ all of this. And then of course I did use the overdrive with the harmonic. So I'll use the kill switch to turn that back on. And you can hear how that V1, V2 setting definitely comes in handy when you're running an overdrive into it. If you're running overdrive on the backside, then it may respond differently. But once again, having that ability to switch, especially in harmonic mode, to be able to switch between those two voicings is really cool. So that is the Custom Tones LLC Ethos 60s Harmonic Bias Trem. As always, I really appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you on the next one.